Hey, what's up guys? This is Drew Goff, lead coach at Turning Point Soccer and fitness instructor at F45 Training. I'm currently an ISSA certified personal trainer and a licensed soccer coach to the United States Soccer Federation. I'm going to let you guys inside a training session we recently completed with one of our athletes. In this video, you'll get an insight into how we set up one of our training sessions, from the warm-up to the strength work to the plyometrics and the technical ball work. You guys enjoy? We start off each session with a dynamic warm-up and focus on really opening up the hips. Here I've got Christian using an exercise band for activation before we really get moving around. Next we go through a pretty standard warm-up for soccer players, starting with a light jog and some high knees and butt kicks. I like to warm up with the athlete so I can get my body going and to make sure they're properly getting loose. And it's a good chance to talk and see what's going on in their lives outside the sport as well. I try to really focus on getting the athlete's hips warmed up and loosened before we get going. A lot of soccer players will experience adductor and groin injuries from the constant explosive leg movement of passing and kicking the ball, as well as hamstring issues, really just due to the nature of the sport. We work through some hip opening and closing the gates with leg swings going forward, backwards, across the body, and straight out to the side. And we'll always finish off with a short sprint to prime the athlete before the work begins. First exercise we go through is an atomic push-up using the suspension trainer. I like using the suspension trainer not only for younger athletes as you're using just your own body weight, but for more advanced athletes as well, as it really works multiple areas of the body and won't cause too much stress on the athlete. Here with the atomic push-up, you'll be working your chest and shoulders as well as your core to stabilize the movement of coordinating the push-up and keeping that back flat with no arch, as well as in the double knee drive to your chest. Christian went through 3 sets of 5 reps. Here we're just discussing the movement and a quick reminder to keep his core tight throughout the move. Next we had some pull-ups on the suspension trainer, another good upper body strength movement that easily self-modifies for younger athletes. I had to quickly adjust the height as Christian couldn't quite reach the straps at a comfortable height. He completed 3 sets of 6 reps here, and you can see in this set he's not quite directly under the trainer like I would want, and it's kind of turning this into a row instead of a pull-up, which we talked over in between the sets. Lastly, for the upper body, we did another combo movement with a row into a reverse fly. Some of the cues we're going over are keeping the hips pinched forward and not sagging, making straight line from heels to head, and really engaging your core. And actually, as you can see from the white stripe on my side, I'm not in perfect form here, but Christian does a pretty good job and picks up the slack. In between sets, we talked briefly about his form on the reverse fly and that I'd like him to be a bit wider and higher on that pull, which seemed a little bit difficult for him. I asked what he could do to make that movement a little bit easier, and he responded with stepping a bit further away from the wall, which was great to hear. We then moved on to a lower body exercise and did 2 sets of 6 alternating dead ball squats into a box jump. We have previously worked on explosive step-ups and box jumps in previous weeks, so I decided to add a light outside force into the movement this week for a little bit. You can see right from the start his balance is way off, nearly falling over. I stop him before his next rep, guiding him into sitting back into his heels, leaving his weight back, chest up, and butt out during this movement. And as you can see, he does a pretty good job from then on out. In between the sets, I give him a quick reminder of where I want the ball to be held, close to the body and not held away. It will make that squat movement a little bit easier to keep his balance. Looking back through the video, I do wish I had gone over how I would like him to pick up the medicine ball, or any other weight, as the exercise starts the moment you touch the object. Now we're moving on into our last section before our plyometrics with a few core movements. We're going to start off with a banded Pow-Off press, which is a good anti-core movement. Christian's previously worked through a similar anti-rotation movement, and this will be his first time doing a Pow-Off press. Showing here to first get into an athletic stance, shoulders square to the wall in front. I want to keep my core tight and not let the tension of the band twist my body away from my target. Once I'm squared off and brace my core, I slowly press the band away from my body and resist the band pulling me away. Notice Christian immediately steps further away from the upright, as he may have done in the isometric version of this, before realizing he'll need to stay closer to the pull to complete the press. He completes 2 sets of 6 reps facing each direction and does a pretty good job with it. Lastly, we'll do a tough isometric exercise with the Copenhagen to really work those adductors and hips. I'm just quickly talking about how important these hip muscles are in our sport because of the constant leg swinging motion used in passing and shooting of the ball, and core exercises like these are vital to staying injury free. I modify this movement a bit, placing my knee as support on the bench, and stressing the importance of keeping that hip up level by tightening and bracing through the core and hips, trying to stay as straight as possible and not letting my hips sag. I've worked through a couple different plank variations with Christian in the past, and here he does 2 sets of 15 seconds on each side. Now we get into what our program's are really about with some plyometric and ball work exercises. Many of our plyometrics start without a ball before completing a few sets incorporating it in. Soccer is unique as it's really the only game played with your feet and you're constantly moving and changing directions and making decisions at the same time. Much of today's plyometric session is focused on single leg explosiveness and balance. First, we've got a lateral skater jump that progressively increases and decreases in distance. Different colored cones help distinguish the next place you're headed and how much power is needed to get there. What I really want him to focus on here is limiting the amount of time he's on the floor, trying to be as explosive and reactive as possible. He's done pretty well in the lower half of his body, but typical soccer player, he kind of forgot about using his arms to keep his momentum going. Something else we'll look to work on next time. Now that he's done a couple sets without the ball, we add the ball into the equation, making a pass on each side after he jumps. Here I'm just quickly reminding him about his speed of movement and the shuffle from one pass to the next, and to sharpen that up a bit getting across to make that second pass. Now we got an agility exercise with some fast feet into our lateral drive jump. We're beginning to focus now on gaining balance with that outside leg first before an explosive jump back to where we came. After a couple sets we add the ball, now needing to maintain balance before making a nice controlled pass back into my hands. We not only need the athleticism of the physical exercise, but need to optimize our technical ability to keep balance and form to properly strike the ball back to our target. And now we take a short break from the explosive movements and really target the balance and calf, ankle, and foot stability, which are another very common area for injury in soccer players. After a couple quick steps, we're up on the balance trainer where we need to maintain balance and control before a pass back to our target. One thing I stress to my athletes in our plyometric and ball work sessions is focusing our energy on the task. I want the energy to be put into the exercise and not getting back to the starting line to do it again. End today's plyometric session by combining our 4 movements previously used in the session, beginning with a 2-footed jump over hurdles, followed by lateral fast feet into a 1-legged balance pass back to the trainer in a lateral leg jump. We're really looking to maintain our explosiveness throughout this exercise, broken up by a controlled, stable, single leg pass. That finished up the physical aspect of our session, and we spent the last 15 minutes at a lower intensity focusing on the technical side of the game, followed by a cool down and stretch to make sure Christian was ready to go for his next training.